Let me ask you something. When was the last time you felt truly in control, not of the world, not of other people, but of you? You see, most people are busy trying to manage everything outside of them, outcomes, opinions, circumstances. But the truth is, transformation doesn't begin when things around us change. It begins when we take command of just 4 simple things. Control them, and you don't just survive, you lead, you live, you thrive. So let's break it down. Everything in your life, your decisions, your behaviors, your results, begins in your mind. Before a word is spoken, before an action is taken, before a goal is pursued, there is a thought. A single thought has the power to ignite action or paralyze it. Most people underestimate this truth. They believe their thoughts are just passing clouds, random, fleeting. But your thoughts are not passengers, they're drivers. They don't just influence your life, they design it. Here's the deeper truth: your brain believes what you feed it. Whether it's fear or faith, scarcity or abundance, defeat or possibility, it doesn't discriminate. If you constantly tell yourself that you're not good enough, your brain will start looking for evidence to confirm that belief. And it will find it, not because it's true, but because you told it to look for that story. The mind works like a search engine. Type in failure, and it will list every mistake you've made. Type in growth, and it will start finding opportunities in every challenge. You get what you search for. And so, controlling your thoughts doesn't mean forcing positivity or pretending everything is perfect. It means becoming conscious of your internal dialogue. Are your thoughts guiding you forward or holding you back? Are they reflections of your potential or echoes of your fear? Most of our thinking is on autopilot, loops inherited from past trauma, culture, and childhood conditioning. Taking control means disrupting those loops. It means noticing when the old story shows up and choosing a better one. Let me ask you, if a friend spoke to you the way you sometimes speak to yourself, would you tolerate it? Would you let someone constantly question your worth, your value, your ability? Probably not. So why let your own mind be your greatest critic when it could be your greatest coach? Self-talk isn't just some feel-good idea. It's a core component of performance, leadership, and peace. Talk to yourself in a way that reflects who you're becoming, not who you used to be. Controlling your thoughts is not a one-time event. It's a daily discipline. Every morning, your mind wakes up ready to react to news, to problems, to notifications. You must choose what you feed it first. Is it gratitude or gossip? Vision or distraction? This is why leaders, athletes, and creatives often guard the first hour of their day. Because what enters your mind first has a ripple effect on everything else. You can either start the day on defense or on purpose. And here's the most freeing part: you don't need to believe every thought you think. Thoughts are not facts. They are mental habits. Some of them serve you, many of them don't. But the moment you realize that you have the power to interrupt your thoughts, to redirect them, to reshape them, that's the moment you stop being a prisoner of your own mind and start becoming the architect of your own life. That's not motivation. That's neuroscience. And it starts with awareness. Words are not just sounds, they are signals. Every word you speak, whether to others or to yourself, shapes the environment around you. Think about it: words inspire movements, end relationships, close deals, spark ideas, and define identities. In moments of high emotion or deep vulnerability, the right word can heal, and the wrong one can wound. What you say has weight. And once released, your words cannot be taken back. That's why control isn't about censorship, it's about intention. We often underestimate how deeply our words affect those around us. A careless comment can create insecurity that lingers for years. A simple compliment, offered sincerely, can lift someone from despair. When leaders speak, their words set the emotional temperature in the room. When parents speak, their words become the internal voices of their children. Every one of us has that power, not just to communicate, but to construct, to build up or tear down, to bring people closer or push them away. Language is the architecture of connection. But what about the words we use on ourselves? The quiet conversations no one hears. I'm not ready. I always mess this up. I'll never be enough. These phrases become mental graffiti, tagging the walls of our identity. The human mind tends to believe what it hears repeatedly, even if it's not true. That's why inner dialogue matters just as much, if not more, than public speech. If your internal language is rooted in fear or self-doubt, no amount of external affirmation will stick. Control your words on the inside, and your confidence begins to rise from within. Let's also talk about the language of excuses, the passive words we use to avoid responsibility. I can't, that's just who I am. It's not my fault. These aren't just harmless statements. They're mental contracts. When you speak them, you subconsciously give yourself permission to stay stuck. But when you change your language to, I'm learning, I'll figure it out. This is hard, but I can handle it. You open the door to growth. The shift is subtle, but the results are transformative. Your words also determine your influence. In leadership, clarity of language equals clarity of direction. If you communicate with vagueness, uncertainty follows. But when you speak with purpose, when your words align with your values, people trust you. They don't just hear you, they believe you. And belief is the foundation of influence. Whether you're leading a team, raising a child, or motivating yourself through a challenge, the words you choose can either ignite action or extinguish hope. So much of our daily speech is habitual. We say things because we've always said them. We mirror the language of our environment without question. But what if we became more conscious? What if every sentence we spoke carried the weight of our values, the clarity of our vision, and the responsibility of our influence? That's what it means to control your words. Not to speak less, but to speak with greater meaning, direction, and care. Your future is not built in a day, it's built daily. The small actions you repeat every morning, every evening, and every moment in between are not just routines, they are votes for the kind of person you are becoming. Most people look at success as an event, a breakthrough, a lucky moment. But in truth, success is the compound interest of good habits. It's not about doing big things once. It's about doing small things consistently. Your habits either serve your growth or feed your stagnation. There's a subtle power in repetition. What you do once might not seem important. Skip a workout. Hit snooze. Procrastinate on a task. It feels small, harmless. But repetition turns behavior into identity. Do something long enough, and it becomes not just what you do, it becomes who you are. That's why controlling your habits is deeper than behavior management. It's identity design. Every time you act with discipline, you reinforce the belief that you are capable, focused, and trustworthy. And every time you break that discipline, you reinforce the opposite. Many of us are stuck not because we lack motivation, but because we've never built a system. We wait for the mood to strike before we take action. But habits don't rely on emotion, they rely on design. The most successful people aren't more motivated, they're just more structured. They know that if they don't schedule their priorities, distractions will schedule them out. Structure may feel restrictive, but in truth, it's liberating. It frees you from the chaos of decision fatigue. It allows you to live intentionally rather than reactively. There's a saying, show me your habits and I'll show you your future. But let's take that further. Show me your invisible habits, the ones no one claps for, the quiet disciplines that happen when no one is watching, the choice to read instead of scroll, to stretch instead of snooze, to reflect instead of react. These are the habits that transform lives, not the loud, public victories, but the private, unseen moments of intentional living. Control those moments, and the visible results will follow. The danger lies in our tendency to underestimate the power of one day. It's just one skipped workout. It's just one late night. It's just one missed journal entry. But the truth is, habits are built or broken, one decision at a time. It's the just one more that often derails momentum. But it's also the just one more rep, one more page, one more minute of focus that builds it. Small hinges swing big doors. The habit you choose today is the version of you that shows up tomorrow. So the real question is, are your habits in alignment with your goals or in conflict with them? Because when you control your habits, you take responsibility for your trajectory. You stop relying on hope and you start building systems that support your potential. You stop wishing for transformation and start practicing it. One intentional choice at a time. Time is the only resource that cannot be earned, multiplied, or recovered. You can lose money and make it back. You can lose energy and regain it with rest. But every second that passes is gone forever. That's what makes time so valuable, not its scarcity, but its non-renewable nature. And yet, it's often the resource we give away most carelessly. We say yes to every request. We waste hours on autopilot. We fill our schedules with urgency, while our purpose remains waiting on the sidelines. The truth is, if you don't control your time, someone else will. The world has no shortage of demands, notifications, meetings, favors, deadlines. If you don't design your day with intention, it will be designed for you. By algorithms, by other people's expectations, by distractions dressed up as opportunities. Controlling your time isn't about becoming rigid or robotic. It's about becoming conscious, about recognizing that your time reflects your real priorities, not the ones you speak, but the ones you live. Most people don't have a time problem. They have a focus problem. The issue isn't that we don't have enough hours in the day. It's that we allow the most important things to be buried under the noise of the unimportant. We confuse being busy with being effective. We wear exhaustion like a badge of honor, as if being constantly drained is proof that we matter. But the people who make the biggest impact aren't the ones doing the most. They're the ones doing what matters most. And protecting their time, like their life, depends on it. Because in many ways, it does. Think about it every yes you say as a no to something else. When you say yes to another unproductive meeting, you say no to focused creative work. When you say yes to someone else's emergency, you may be saying no to your own priorities. That's why high-performing individuals are not just careful with their schedules. They're protective. They understand that boundaries are not a rejection of people, but a commitment to purpose. Every minute must be earned, not assumed. And it's not just about cutting out distractions. It's about investing your time wisely. There is a difference between spending time and using time. One depletes you, the other grows you. You can use time to learn, to grow, to build, to rest, to reconnect. You can also use time to numb, to escape, to scroll endlessly into oblivion. The choice is always yours. But whatever you choose, understand this: your future is being written in how you spend your hours right now. There will always be people who seem to have more freedom, more progress, more clarity. But in reality, they have the same 24 hours you do. The difference is not in how much time they have. It's in how much of it they own. They treat time like a currency, not a convenience. They plan their days around their mission, not around the mood of the moment. And because of that, their results are not accidental. They are designed, controlled, aligned. Energy is one of the most overlooked currencies of high performance and personal peace. Everyone talks about managing time, but managing energy is just as essential, if not more. Time tells you when to act, but energy determines how well you show up in that moment. You can have a perfectly planned day and still fail to be present, productive, or emotionally available simply because your energy is depleted. Owning your energy means being intentional about how it's spent, protected, and replenished. Your energy is not just physical, it's mental, emotional, and even spiritual. You can sleep for 8 hours and still feel exhausted if your thoughts are cluttered, your emotions are burdened, or your soul is disconnected from purpose. We often try to push through tiredness as a badge of strength. But strength isn't always about pushing harder. Sometimes it's about pausing, resetting, and realigning. To own your energy is to understand that rest, boundaries, and clarity are not luxuries. They're leadership tools. Think of your energy like a bank account. Every interaction, task, or thought is either a deposit or a withdrawal. The problem is many people live in energetic overdraft. They give and give with little thought to what refuels them. And when you run on empty long enough, your performance suffers, your attitude deteriorates, and your relationships strain. That's not because you're weak. It's because you haven't been taught to protect your inner power. And power that's not protected eventually turns into burnout. Owning your energy also means knowing what and who drains you. There are people who energize you with one conversation. And then there are those who leave you emotionally bankrupt after 5 minutes. That doesn't mean you cut everyone off. It means you become more conscious about your boundaries. Who has access to your inner world? Who gets your time at your best? Just like you wouldn't let someone freely withdraw money from your bank account, don't allow unchecked access to your emotional energy. Environment plays a crucial role here too. The spaces you occupy either nourish or deplete you. Music, light, noise, air, even colors, they all have an energetic cost or benefit. And beyond the physical, there's the energetic noise of your digital spaces, the constant pings, news alerts, scrolling loops. These may feel harmless, but they quietly drain your cognitive energy, leaving you with less clarity, less creativity, and less patience for what truly matters. Small intentional changes in your environment can renew your energy in profound ways. Finally, owning your energy means knowing what replenishes you and making time for it without guilt. Whether it's solitude, laughter, deep work exercise, prayer, nature, or simply breathing without pressure, these are not indulgences. They're essentials. They refill your cup so you can keep pouring into the world. The more aligned your energy is with your purpose, the more magnetic your presence becomes. And when your energy is strong, grounded, and protected, everything you touch, work, relationships, creativity, begins to elevate with you. Your environment is constantly shaping you, whether you notice it or not. The spaces you live in, the people you surround yourself with, the media you consume, the conversations you engage in, all of it silently molds your mindset, your motivation, and your self-perception. The challenge is, we often underestimate how much influence our environment has. We assume our thoughts and behaviors arise purely from willpower. But in reality, much of what we do is a reaction to what we're surrounded by. Control the environment, and you begin to control the behaviors that flow from it. Consider the power of proximity. Who are the people closest to you? Are they building you up or wearing you down? Are they stretching your vision or shrinking your dreams? The people around you are not neutral. They're either pushing you toward purpose or pulling you into patterns. That doesn't mean you need perfect people. It means you need intentional people. Those who challenge your thinking without mocking it. Those who hold you accountable without making you feel small. The company you keep is a mirror of the standards you're willing to accept. Beyond people, look at the physical and digital spaces you occupy. Is your workspace inspiring or chaotic? Is your phone filled with tools or temptations? Are your routines built to support focus, or are they inviting distraction? You can't always control every part of your life, but you can control what you allow within arm's reach. Small environmental cues have big effects on your choices. A book on your desk leads to reading. A phone by your bed leads to scrolling. One simple shift in your surroundings can completely redirect your attention. Think about the media you consume. Every video, song, podcast, and headline you allow into your mind is planting seeds either of fear or faith, of drama or discipline. It's easy to dismiss content as entertainment, but what you entertain shapes what you believe. And what you believe influences how you act. The more intentional you are about what you watch, listen to, and read, the more you begin to cultivate an environment that energizes rather than drains. Your mind is not a landfill. It's a garden. Protect what grows there. Controlling your environment also means controlling your access. Not everyone should have instant access to your time, energy, or attention. Boundaries aren't selfish, they're strategic. If someone constantly disrespects your goals, your peace, or your values, that's not just a relationship issue, it's an environmental one. And the more you tolerate toxicity in your surroundings, the harder it becomes to stay committed to your higher self. Protecting your environment often means making hard choices, but those choices are necessary for growth. Ultimately, the environments you stay in long enough will start to feel like home, whether they're healthy or not. That's why awareness is key. Comfort can be a trap if it keeps you in places that no longer serve your potential. You owe it to yourself to step back, evaluate what you've normalized, and ask, does this environment reflect who I want to become? If the answer is no, then it's not your job to simply survive it. It's your responsibility to redesign it. Life is unpredictable. People will disappoint you. Plans will fall apart. Circumstances will shift without warning. And in these moments, you don't always have control over what happens, but you always have control over how you respond. That choice, the decision between reaction and response, is where your true power lies. It's the difference between being emotionally hijacked and being emotionally intelligent, between becoming a slave to the moment and becoming the leader of it. Reactions are immediate. They're primal, instinctive, often fueled by fear, ego, or frustration. When you react without thinking, you surrender control. You give power to the trigger. But when you pause, even for a breath, you create space. And in that space is the freedom to choose a response that aligns with your values, your integrity, and your long-term vision. The greatest leaders, communicators, and change makers all share one trait. They don't just act. They respond with intention. Controlling your reactions doesn't mean suppressing your emotions. It means mastering them. It means recognizing that anger, fear, and sadness are valid signals. but not reliable guides. Feelings are real, but they are not always true. When you react impulsively, you often say or do things that don't reflect who you are, only how you felt in that fleeting moment. And what takes seconds to say in reaction can take months or even years to repair. Emotional maturity is knowing that just because you feel something doesn't mean you have to act on it. It's also about recognizing your emotional triggers. Everyone has them. Certain tones, certain phrases, certain situations that hit deeper because they touch old wounds or unresolved narratives. When you aren't aware of your triggers, you become reactive without understanding why. But when you are aware, you can trace your reactions back to their root, and instead of being controlled by them, you start to rewire them. You begin to shift from emotional automation to conscious leadership of self. Reactions are contagious. When you react negatively, you often escalate a situation, infecting it with more tension. But when you respond calmly, even in the midst of chaos, you change the emotional tone of the environment. That's real influence. Responding with grace doesn't make you weak. It makes you powerful in a way that reactive people will never understand. It shows that you are not controlled by the moment, but anchored in something deeper, in clarity, in self-respect, in purpose. And let's not forget your reaction isn't just about you. It sets the tone for your relationships, your workplace, your family. If you want to create environments where people feel safe, inspired, and valued, it starts with how you react, especially in difficult moments. People may forget what you said, but they will never forget how you made them feel. Your reaction is not just a reflection of the moment. It's a reflection of your character. When you master it, you begin to lead from the inside out. We live in a world obsessed with control, controlling the economy, controlling people, controlling outcomes. But the most meaningful transformation doesn't come from trying to control the world around you. It comes from mastering what's within you. When you take ownership of your thoughts, you rewrite the story in your mind. When you become intentional with your words, you shape the energy you bring into every room. When you design your habits, you define your identity. When you manage your time, you reclaim your life. When you protect your energy, you multiply your impact. When you control your environment, you change what influences you. And when you master your reactions, you step into your true power. The greatest shift you will ever make doesn't happen overnight. It happens in the moment you decide that nothing outside you will have more control over your life than what's inside you. So if you're waiting for change to begin, let it begin with you. One thought, one word, one choice, one moment at a time. Because when you control these 4 things and live them fully, you won't just improve your life, you'll transform it.